Now, if you've bought yourself a Tentbox tent and you're starting to think a little bit about how to provide yourself with power while you're staying away in your tent box and you're camping off-grid, then this is the video for you, so don't go anywhere. When we're away in our tent boxes, we don't always stay on campsites, and even when we are on campsites, we don't always have access to electrical hookup. So sometimes you're going to need an option to be able to give yourself power while you're away camping off grid in a nice, easy, simple solution. And this is the product I'm going to talk about today. So this is my review video of the All Powers R600 power station along with companion solar panel kit. So let's take a look. Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chocolate Chip Travels, and I just wanted to say firstly a big thank you for tuning in and watching this video. I do appreciate you taking the time to watch. Hopefully, as I've always tried to do, is come up with a comprehensive video that's going to answer a lot of questions and hopefully give you some ideas for things you can do with your tent box. This is the focus today. This is the portable power station, the R600 power station by a company called All Powers. I've got a solar panel kit here. I'm going to go through the whole thing, explain the features, how it all works, how everything connects up, and also give you a bit of an idea as to whether this might be a solution for you, because there's not one solution for everybody, as I've always said. So hopefully watching this video, you'll get an idea of whether this power station might be something you can add to your accessory list. Now, most of you have probably seen something like this before. Now, this is literally one of those little bullet battery packs that you can get to charge your mobile phone. I think I got this from Tesco's for about a tenner. And all you do is you plug your phone in via USB, it charges your phone, and normally you get about a single charge out of something like this. But what we're looking at here is basically a bigger version of this, essentially. Yes, it looks a bit fancier, and yes, it's got more connections and things like that, but all it's for really is another power solution, a big battery pack to be able to give you power while you're away camping in your tent box. This is actually quite a new product to me. I've had another power station for the last few years while I've been tent boxing, but I felt the time had sort of come for me to upgrade on what I had originally, which was basically this little power station here. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're watching this, you're like, oh my God, I never realized Tentbox did a little power station. That's so cool. Well, they don't anymore, I'm afraid. This was an old school product that they sold a few years ago, and it's done me well. It's done me absolutely fine. But as you can see, there's a big size difference between the two. And generally what you find is the bigger the power station, the more battery life is inside it. It's loads of batteries inside. So what you've got here is a bigger battery solution on the bottom that's going to last me longer. Now, one of the things I've always been clear on is when I talk about different products, and I said it earlier, that I don't want you to necessarily rush out and buy everything straight away. It's why I talk in my review videos about whether I actually feel you might need something or not. The same applies to this. Now, I see in the Tentbox group all the time, people are sort of saying, does anyone have any recommendations for a power station? And people post in their links to like £2,000 power stations, when the reality is you might not need something like that. I find that this one here, this R600, it's a good mid-sized power station. It's going to give you generally most of the power you need for most people. I'll talk in a little bit about how that might vary, but it's a good sized power station. This one above, which I was using before, is clearly smaller. It didn't last as long as this new one will, but I'm going to talk about why I decided to upgrade and also the differences between these two. Now, it's not a comparison video, that's not what I'm making, but I think it's probably a good idea to be able to say to you, well, this is what I had and this is how this new one differs. So I'm going to get into that now. So as you can see, I've put the two power stations side by side, again, just to give you an idea on the differences in size between the two. Now, what you've got here is a smaller power station. I think this was I said this was a 600 power station, this new one, and I'll go into shortly why it's a 600 and what that means. It's basically to do with the power that's coming out of it, whereas I think this one, this smaller one, was like a 167, so it's a big jump up. They go bigger, they do bigger sizes, which I'll talk about in a moment, but that's, like I said, I found this was like a nice, it's on the higher end of kind of an introduction size. It's not going to power the world for long, but it'll give me more than enough power for what I need while I'm away camping in my tent box, and that's the important thing. Now, I said earlier that this little Tentbox power station has done me well for the last few years, and it absolutely has. It's got basically some inputs on the back. It's got like it's got some USB inputs. It's got a connector to connect it to a cigarette lighter socket, both for charging from the cigarette lighter in the car and to plug something like a cooler into this power station, which uses a cigarette lighter adapter. So it's input and output cigarette lighter. And then on the end, it's actually got some 3-pin plugs, sort of sockets on the end as well. So it can do AC and DC power. Now, the only caveat I had with this smaller power station, and again, it's been fine, and you find a way around things, is that essentially I couldn't charge things via USB and via the 3-pin plugs at the same time. It wouldn't do AC and DC power all at the same time. So if I had something plugged in, like my laptop, for example, in the 3-pin plug, I couldn't also charge my phone via the USB. But the great thing about this new one is that you can plug multiple things in at the same time, and it'll power everything at once, which is one of the reasons why I decided to make the leap and an upgrade on what I had. But like I say, I always love this little power station, but I'm going to talk now in more detail about this new one and what all the new features are and what you can expect from this power station. So this is basically it. This is the power station. This is the R600 battery pack. Now, I'm going to go through some of the features in a second, but one of the first things I wanted to talk about was actually the price, because the price is an important factor for everybody. One of the things I loved about the All Powers power station, I actually looked at various different options on the market, including things like the Jackery and things like that. There was 2 parts that came into it. There was the size. You know, I picked a size of power station that was appropriate for what I felt I needed. And also, there's the pricing side of things as well. Now, I would say the All Power sits on the lower end of the pricing scale, okay? But the key thing is that I absolutely want to make clear that I'm not the kind of person who sacrifices on quality. I do believe that if you pay cheap, you pay twice. So I didn't want to fall into that trap. But after doing my research, I found that this fell into that lower end of the scale. Now, this R600 power station retails for $319.99 as of the point of making this video, which is great value. I think it's worth every penny. I'm actually recording this video over St. Patrick's Day weekend, and they've actually just had a sale on for St. Patrick's Day weekend. So I had a look on the website just to see what the sale price was, and it was actually selling for $209.99, which is £110 off, which is a fantastic price. Like I said, I still think it's worth every penny when it's full price, but if you're happy just hanging on for a sale, keeping an eye on the website, then you could do that as well. But I just thought I'd mention both prices just so you've got an idea. It's not unreasonable by any stretch, and given the features that I'm about to run through, I think it's worth every penny. This isn't the only size option that they do. They do an R1800, they do a 2500, they do a 3500 and a 4000 version, okay? Now, obviously, when you go up in size, you're also going to go up in price as well. Just to give you an idea, the retail price on the R1800 was just under £1,000. It was $969.99 as of the time of making this video. That was actually on sale on the St. Patrick's Day sale for $599.99. So it had a big chunk of money off. I felt personally that I was happy with this size because I've been using my Tentbox for the last 3 or 4 years. I know what I need from power while I'm away, so I didn't need to go and splash loads of money on anything more than this. Plus, because there's a jump in the finances by a few £100, I just felt I didn't need to make that leap, which is why I settled on this model here. That's not to say don't go for the bigger size. All I'm saying is you need to know a little bit about how you might use it and also what you're going to plug into it as well. The way we tend to travel is we might do 1, 2, 3 nights off grid and then kind of stop at a campsite just to sort of restock, charge everything up, plug into the electrics, that kind of thing. And then we might do another few nights off grid and then do another campsite. Some people will do 2 weeks off grid, so that factors into it a little bit, how much time you're going to be away from being able to charge it up. The other thing to think about as well is what you're actually plugging into it. So if you're just charging your mobile phones, you probably don't even need anything this big. For me personally, we've got our mobile phones to plug in, we've got the iPad, we've got the camera batteries. We always take our cameras away with us, so we've got the camera batteries. Sometimes I run a cooler, some people run compressor fridges, some people power little TVs from them. There's all sorts of stuff. So you need to think about how much how much you're going to be plugging into it and what your power needs might be. So that's the other thing you need to take into account when it comes to what size of station you're going to pick. But like I said, I'm very happy with this R600. It's more than going to do me for a few days away and then be able to plug into it and charge it up at the campsite off the electrical hookup. Now, I'm going to talk a bit later on about how to charge it and how that all works. But what I wanted to do now is just go through some of the main features of this power station just to give you an idea of what you can expect. So the thing I love about this is it's very modern and sleek, okay? It's got a nice little carry handle on top for you to lift it up. Now, it's got a bit of a weight to it, but it's not too heavy. And in terms of inputs, what we've actually got is we've got a series of inputs on the front. Under this little rubber flap here, we've basically got a cigarette lighter socket. And then what we've also got on top is basically a wireless phone charger. So like a wireless charging point, you literally just pop your mobile phone on top and it will spring into life and offer you with a wireless charger. So you can plug your phone in via USB or via the 3-pin plug, but if you want to, you can just sit your phone on top and it will charge it for you. So down here, we've basically got 2 3-pin plug sockets. We've got a few different USB options over here. So we've got USB-A as well as USB-C connectors. And then basically what you've got above is the button to switch it on, and you've got a button for a light as well. So if you press the button with the light, what you've got is a sort of one light, then you've got a second light setting, which is a bit brighter. And then if you press it again, you've got a third light setting, which I believe, and I'm happy for someone to correct me if I'm wrong, I think this is an SOS signal. Now, I couldn't find anything online on the All Powers website or in the instructions about what this was, and I don't know Morse code. But I feel it would make sense if it's an SOS signal. That would be a sensible thing to introduce. So that's what I think it is. So that's the third light setting for what you can cycle through. Every time you press a button, there's an audible beep. Okay, so if you turn on your USB sockets, you've got a beep. And then again to turn it off. Okay, so that's kind of how it works. But what I'll do is if I actually press the button, oh, it's already on. So basically what you've got here is a digital display. And now what you've essentially got is you've got your main battery percentage over to this side, and you've got a blue ring around it. Now, essentially, when you charge this, the blue ring spins to indicate charging, but at the moment, it's a solid connection. Now, the blue ring is not always full. What will happen is, as the power goes down, the blue ring kind of gets smaller, so the sections disappear just to indicate kind of lower battery. But you've also got a battery percentage in the middle, which is an important thing. On what is my left, but your right-hand side, you've got power input and output, and I'll show you this in a little bit, hopefully, when I manage to connect it to the solar panel, is that when power is coming into it, if you're charging via the 3-pin plug or if you're charging via the solar panel, you will see a power input level. It will go from 0 to something, okay? And then in terms of output, you've also got output underneath. So if you're charging your mobile phone or if you're powering some lights or a compressor fridge or something like that, you will notice power output, and that will come up with a figure as well. And underneath there, you've basically got a time as well. So it's giving you a rough idea as to sort of how long you've got left on the battery in terms of time. What that also does, I think, if I remember correctly, don't 100% quote me on this, but I think when you're charging the power station, that time changes to let you know how long it is until it's going to be fully charged. Okay, I think 100%. I'm not 100%, but I think. So that's pretty much the features. And like you say, you push the little button to turn it on, and then you push the little button to turn it off. And the power button is the only one without an audible beep when you press the button. Everything else is got an audible beep. And then, like I said, on top, you've basically got a wireless charging port on top as well. So like you say, you just pop your phone on, and that basically will charge your mobile phone. Now, it's not on by default, so just the wireless charging pad isn't always on. What you've basically got to do is turn on the USB sockets. So there's a little button next to the 4 USB sockets. If you press that, then if you give it a few seconds, And there they go, the wireless charger's just come on now. So that's kind of how it works. Yeah, it's nice and nifty. Like I say, I can just set my phone on top, and it's charging. And then when I don't want to use the wireless charger anymore, I can either just take my phone off, or I can press the power button and it'll disconnect the wireless charger. So that's basically how it works with the wireless charging port. With the wireless charging pad. Really simple, really easy to use, and pretty straightforward for everybody. And that's the important thing. I wanted to recommend something that was easy to use and wouldn't be too complex for those of you out there who are maybe not as tech savvy as some of the others, okay? Now, in terms of what we've actually got, we've also got some more input things on the side here. So if we lift this little flap on the side, it's actually got like a little diagram of what the inputs are. Basically what we've got is a little kettle cable socket for plugging in the power if you wanted to charge the power station off the 3-pin plug, whether you're at home or away on a campsite and you've got like electrical hookup, you can charge it that way. And then what we've got on the other side is another socket which basically allows you to connect it to things like the solar panel kit, or you can connect it to a battery, you know, that kind of thing, like a leisure battery. You could charge it off that. So it's got a little connector on there for basically connecting it to other devices. Now, one of the things I do like about this power station is that it comes with a really cool little accessory bag, which I'm just going to grab now. So in this accessory bag, this comes in the box with the power station, and what you've got in here is basically your 3-pin kettle cable for charging it off the plug sockets, and you've also got the cable that's going to allow you to connect it to your solar panel. But there's also some extra cables in the solar panel kit, and I'll talk about that in a little while. But yeah, everything's in this little pouch. The pouch is very much oversized as well, so you can fit other things in this pouch, not just the cables that come with it. There's lots in the room in there for other little bits and bobs, but that comes in the box with the power station itself. And then you also basically get this little envelope which has got a little warranty card in there, as well as your instructions on how to get everything set up. Now, when it comes to the instructions, I found, probably like several things that you buy, the instructions weren't amazing, but they were fine. You know, they're not terrible. That's probably the main thing to sort of mention, is that they're not bad, but they're not great. So kind of, I'm going to explain a few things in this video about how to set everything up. Now, one of the big features of this power station is the fact that you can actually connect it to an app on your phone. And what that'll do is it'll allow you to not only monitor what's going on with the power station, but it'll allow you to actually control the power station via the app, and it does it via Bluetooth basically. It has a Wi-Fi option included as well, but I just used the Bluetooth connectivity. It was easier. Now, the way you do this is you download the app. I use an iPhone, so I downloaded the app from the Apple Store. And basically, once you open up the app, it'll give you a screen where it says Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So if you press the plus button on the Bluetooth, that'll bring up another screen. And what it's basically just kind of saying is, look, you need to turn your Bluetooth on. Now, you need to put the power station into pairing mode. And it took me a little bit to figure out how to do this because it wasn't clear in the instructions. But the way that you put it into pairing mode is basically you press the button to switch on the USBs. And then if you hold that button down, it comes up with a little Bluetooth icon on the display just to indicate that it's in pairing mode. And then what you do on the app is you press the next button to move further forward, and it will come up showing you the R600 power station. So if you press that, it will then allow you to pair with the power station, and then you'll then be presented with this screen, which is basically the overview screen. And as you can see, it's giving you the information in terms of how much power is left, all that kind of stuff. What it's also giving you the option to do is switch on and off the different sections. So you can switch on the USB socket and the cigarette lighter socket. They all work off the DC power. And then you can also turn on and off the AC power as well. So that's really important. There is also another little screen here, which is like a settings screen. I'm not fully sure what these different things mean. Work mode here, you've got 3 different options. I've just left it in standard mode. There's like a fast mode as well, but I couldn't find anything on the All Powers website or in the instructions explaining what them different things mean. So I've just left it in standard mode. But you don't really need to fiddle with that too much. You can just use the main screen of the app. And what that's going to allow you to do is basically, if you wanted to leave this power station outside of the tent, you know, whether it be in your car or something like that, you can monitor it from your mobile phone while you're up in the tent. But, you know, you might not even need to use the app, and you may not need to use the Bluetooth, but it's there if you want to use it, and it's quite a cool, nifty little feature that makes it feel very modern and adds to the kind of general feel of the power station, which is that it's modern, it's slick, and it's nice. Now, on that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the aesthetic. Obviously, I've talked about the functions and things like that, but I just want to kind of briefly talk about the aesthetic and the look of the power station. Now, one of the things that drew me into it was that it looks really nice and slick. The display is clear, it's very sharp, it's very precise, it's relatively easy to use. I mean, I say relatively easy to use, it is easy to use. The only thing that caught me out was pairing it to my mobile phone because the instructions weren't clear. But I've already spoke about that in the previous section, so you know how to do that now. But apart from that, it's been very easy to use. And like I say, I've already ran you through how to activate the wireless charger by turning on the USB sockets. That's also how you turn on the cigarette lighter socket as well. But it just looks nice and slick. It looks really sharp. It's easy to carry around with the handle. You know, it's not too much. And I just think it looks really, really nice. There's two options in terms of colour. You've got this, which is the grey option. They also do a beige option as well. I personally went for the grey option just because I thought I'm going to be away camping. It might get a bit of muck on it or it might get scuffed. I just thought the grey would hide that a little bit better. But it's each to their own, and one of the things I always like to stress about everything, like I've said before, is that there's always something out there for everybody, and the beige is actually a really nice colour. So if you do prefer the beige, then go for the beige. But I particularly just like the grey, which is why I've gone for the grey. Now, one of the other things that I felt with the little Tentbox power station I had that was missing was a carry bag. I used to have to carry it around in like a little cardboard box, and as cardboard boxes do, the more that you use them, the more they fall to bits. So kind of by the end of me using that recently, the cardboard box has literally fallen to bits. I've had to tape it together. And it was one of them things that there was no bag available when I bought it. So what I like about this is that this power station, you have the option to add a sort of a carry bag for it, which is here. Okay, so this is the carry bag. Now it's really nice. It's a nice charcoal grey, matches the grey of the power station, which is one of the other reasons why I went for the grey, not the beige. But basically it's got a couple of little carry handles on top which come together, and you've got like a Velcro which kind of keeps the handle intact. But if I just open it up, you've also got a shoulder strap inside, which has got the sort of All Powers, sorry, let me turn it that way, the All Powers branding on there. So that's like your shoulder strap if you prefer to keep it on your shoulder. But essentially, it's a nice little carry bag. The power station just fits inside. You put the handle down, you close it up. There's a zip to go all the way around, and obviously your handles come up, and that's it. I don't need to show you how to use a carry bag. But again, it's got branding of the All Powers on the front. It's a really nice bag. It looks good. Again, the material feels strong. It's got like a nice material on the inside. It's nice. Now, this is an optional extra. It doesn't come with the power station. I think it's roughly between about £50 and £70. I'll put the correct price on the screen, but I think it's about roughly an extra £50 or £70, I think. But, you know, if... like I say, it's worth it just because it keeps the power station safe when you're traveling with it. It's not going to get banged, it's not going to get scuffed, and it's not going to get damaged. And it's a really nice bag. It'll keep it protected. And I think it's worth spending the little bit of extra money to get the bag on top. Now, All Powers say that you can charge this full in an hour. I've not actually tested that, but what I did do is before I did this review, I plugged it in for a little bit, and it actually charged it up to 90% in the space of about 25 minutes, or half an hour, I think it was, something like that. So, yes, it did charge very, very quickly, which would lead me to not necessarily doubt that that's true, that it will charge full in an hour. Now, second option for charging is that you can charge it with the solar panel, which I've also got to show you. And again, we're going to head outside very, very shortly for me to plug that in and show you how that works. But the third option is that you can actually charge it in your vehicle while you're driving using your cigarette lighter. Now, what you do need for this is another optional extra. It's not included as part of the kit. It's a little adapter you need to buy, and what that'll allow you to do is while you're driving, so say for example you're doing a road trip around Scotland, NC 500, and you're moving from place to place to place to place, and you're going to be off grid most nights, you're probably going to need to charge while you're moving and traveling. This will allow you to do that with the cigarette lighter adapter. You just plug it in, and as you're driving from place to place, it's going to allow you to charge. I don't imagine it's a huge amount of money. Again, I'll find out and I'll put it on the screen because I'm not actually sure as of the time of making this video. But I don't imagine it's going to be a huge amount of money. But what that will allow you to do is, like I said, plug it in, drive 2 or 3 hours or however long it is, you know, probably more if you're going down into Europe, you know, you're going to have longer drives. But it means that you can rock up at your new destination and this will be charged and ready to go again to give you power. So that's another option as well. So you've got the 3-pin plug, you've got the solar panel kit, and you've got the cigarette lighter adapter as well. There's a big feature about this which isn't necessarily something that's going to affect you while you're away in your tent box, but if you're maybe watching this review and you're coming from a place of not having a tent box, you're just interested in buying this power station, it's worth mentioning. But also, if you're going to buy it and put it in your tent box, then it's another cool feature anyway. Now, this has basically got something called a UPS built into it, and what that means is basically an uninterrupted power supply. And essentially, in a nutshell, what it means is, imagine you were at home and you had a power cut and you were working on your computer and your computer just went off like that, okay? It went off. An uninterrupted power supply is basically a battery backup system, and the way it works is you would plug your computer into this, then plug this into the wall and just run it all the time, okay? And then if there was ever a power cut, your computer wouldn't just turn off, it would go to battery power, which would allow you to be able to turn this off and turn your computer off safely, and it would still allow you to keep the power to allow you to do that. Now, we have an uninterrupted power supply for our editing machine for the wedding photography side of the business. We have one, so if there's ever a power cut, basically the battery power will kick back in, and that's basically what this is. So it's another cool little addition. So you don't necessarily just have to use it while you're away camping. If you wanted to use it at home, if you had a power cut, or if you have, you know, relatively semi-frequent power cuts, you could plug your telly into this and still watch a bit of telly while you've got a power cut. You could use it to charge your mobile phones. You've got the light, which is here just to give you that extra bit of power, you know, if you needed it. So that's what it has built into it, a UPS. Now, again, it's not necessarily why you would be buying it if you were in the Tentbox community like I would. You would be buying it to be able to power your travels. But like I said, it is a cool thing that you can use at home. It has that extra little added feature. But obviously, if you're watching this video and you're not in the Tentbox community and you're simply just looking at this product, then it is a big feature of this that you can have that UPS and allow you to keep yourself powered while you're at home in the case of an emergency. Right guys, so I've come outside just to really show you sort of how this solar panel works and how it connects. So obviously we've got our power station. Over here I've got the little accessory bag, and inside here I've got, if it opens, the cable that you need. So I'm just going to take this little wire sort of cable tie off. Okay, so what we've got here is it's a cable with red and black on it, and on one end you've got a yellow connector. Now this end goes into the power station, and if you open up the end of the power station where you've got your inputs, you'll see a little yellow connector. So you literally just plug that in, and it just literally slots in place. There's no click or anything like that, just push it in as much as you can. And then for the solar panel, what you've got is, obviously, this is, I guess, the front, really, if we want to call it that. You've got a bit of a high-vis strap on here, All Powers branding. And then on the back here, what you've got is a pocket. Now, inside this pocket, there's a few extra cables. Let me see if I can get into it. So, yeah, there's just a few extra bags of cables, as well as some connectors. As well as some instructions and just some of them silica gel packets. Now what I'm going to do, I don't need any of these, so I'm just going to pop them to the side over here. Now the extra cables are essentially for connecting the solar panel directly to other devices. So for example, you can connect the solar panel to like a laptop and charge a laptop, or there's like different connectors for different plug sockets and stuff like that. So that's what they are. I'm going to just pop these to the side because I don't need them for this demonstration. Now, oh, another silica gel. Now what you have inside here is 2 cables. If I can put that down, there's 2 cables that are actually wired into the solar panel, okay? So they don't come out, don't yank on them, but they don't come out. You've got these two cables here going in here, and these are what you basically need to connect to the power station. So that cable that plugs into the power station, there's basically, let me untangle. So there's two cables coming from the power station and two cables coming from the solar panel, and basically they are just male and female connectors, so you just match them up. We'll do that in a second, okay? But what I'm going to do for now is just open up the solar panel. Now, on the back of the solar panel, what you've got are these two legs, okay? So basically they unvelcro and they come out, and just the solar panel can stand up just on them legs, and there's two of them, okay? So what I'm going to do is open this up, and I'll turn it towards you. And then what we're going to do is open the legs at the back. So there's two, one on each panel, and we're just going to lay it down like this, okay? So there we are, pointing towards the sun. Now, it's a bit of an overcast. By the time I've got out here to do this filming, it's a little bit overcast, but we'll see how we get on. It should be okay. Right, I just need to open up, hang on a second. Okay. Right, so there's our solar panel pointing towards the direction of the sun. Here we've got our power generator, and what we're going to do now is connect the cables. Now, literally, like I said, they're male and female connectors, okay? So what we want to do is put the male connector into the female connector, and we should get a click, and then same again on the other one. Okay, so there should be two clicks, and then that should all be connected. Now what I'm going to do is come around here and have a bit of a look at what's going on. So instantly on the power generator, what we've got is the blue disc moving to indicate charging, and where it has input power, it says 8 watts. Now I tried this yesterday and it said 5 watts. It's a little bit, it's overcast now when I look at the sky, but it is a bit bright. So I'm getting 8 watts. So I imagine if it was a sunny day, you're gonna get more wattage coming in. But that's how you can tell that it's charging, okay? You've got the blue spinning disc and you've got a reading on the input. It's just gone down to 7 watts, back to 8 watts. So it's fluctuating between about 7 and 8 watts at the moment. But that's literally it. That's all you need to do, okay? Just plug it in, point it towards the sun, plug it in here, and literally it's just start charging. Just to give you an idea, I think the price to get this solar panel as well as the power station on top of just getting the power station, I think the difference worked out about like an extra £100, £110-ish, something like that, to get the solar panel as well. So like I said, it's not a huge amount more to get the solar panel. I think maybe you just need to think about whether you'd actually use the solar panel. Like I say, if you're going to be in one spot for a little bit of time, it might be worth it for you if you're going to be off grid. But like I say, if you're going to be using campsites mainly with electrical hookup, I can't ever really see why you would need this. But if you're going to be off grid camping, you know, in the West Highlands and stuff like that, you know, in the middle of fields and in laybys, something like this might really come in handy. But yeah, super easy to use, super flexible, folds up into a nice form factor. It's easy to store in the car. Yeah. Really, really easy. So what I'll do is I'll jump back into the studio, we'll run through some more things, and yeah, we're not too far away from the end. So as you can see from the solar panel, it was pretty easy to set up, and it is a good solution. The thing I want to kind of mention is you need to think about whether it's the right solution for you. If you're moving from destination to destination, you're probably going to be arriving late afternoon, tea time-ish. You're going to have missed the bulk of the sun, okay? So a solar panel may not work for you, or you may not get the full use out of it. And I'm not trying to say this to put you off. I want you to go and buy the solar panel, but all I'm saying is you might not need to. And I'm very honest when I say to people that sometimes it's better not to rush out and buy everything. Figure out how you might use something, and then if you feel the need to add the solar panel, maybe do that at a later date. But certainly from the start off, I would definitely consider buying this power station. I've already ran through all the features and everything and how it works. It's fantastic, it looks slick, it works really well, it's modern, it's very connective, it's got the wireless charger, it's got all the different USB sockets, you can plug a 3-pin plug. There's loads of things you can do with this, and it's fantastic. And especially in terms of the price, which I spoke about earlier, it's very good value for money. So that's it from me. I'm going to love you and leave you and say thank you very much for tuning in. If you do decide you want to buy one of these all-power power stations and or solar panel kits, if you go to the description in this video, I've got a link through to the All Powers website as well as a discount code. Please, you're welcome to use my discount code or link to grab yourself a discount on one of these power stations. It works on everything, so whether it's this power station, the solar panel kit, both, or a different power station, you're welcome to use the discount code and grab yourself a discount on me as a thank you for watching this video. And the same applies as always with my Tentbox discount code. If you want to order a Tentbox tent, please head to the description, find the link, grab my discount code and enjoy a discount on me as a thank you for tuning in, listening to me and watching my videos. But that's it. I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you very much for tuning in, and hopefully I will see you on the road at some point in the future. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.